Seems very strange recording every month, doesn't it, Mark? How
It
are you?
certainly does, Cam. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. I think having shifted to the monthly podcast has worked better for us
I
with the
think it
schedule that we
has.
have.
Although we don't, I mean, obviously, well, we'll talk about what we're going to be talking about, but it's yeah, it's been a busy one though for us, I think, because obviously we've went to the photography show, which we're going to
Mm.
talk about a little bit later. Um, and so yeah, it feels like it has been a busy month podcast wise, even though it's only one recording for the month. So yeah.
That's right, yeah, and it does feel like we've got a bit of breathing space as well.
Yes. So
um,
hopefully our
but
episodes are better. So
oh, that's right, yeah. So anyway, so the photography show has now been and gone. Um,
yes. Yeah. Did
we
you
were
enjoy
we
yourself there?
I did. Do you know I went 3 days? Um,
Wow. Yeah,
so
you can tell it's nearer you, can't you?
for different reasons. Each day I went
Yeah.
for a different reason. Obviously, we went for the podcast. We're very lucky. We've got some exclusive interviews
Yep.
with Sony, Nikon, Canon, and Adobe,
Yep.
which going to
Absolutely.
be the second part of the show. So we'll be giving you our thoughts on the show, how we felt about it. You know, while we were there, coming back from it, and having had sort of a good few days to evaluate it as well. It's very easy just to put something on, to record a podcast or put some content online straight away. But I think it's been really good to sit back, evaluate it, and have some thoughts. So anyway, we're going to be coming on to that. But as usual, we're going to be kicking off with some news from around the photography world.
Absolutely, absolutely. But before we go into that, there is just something that I would just like to say about something that I've
Oh,
seen.
okay.
Have
I
you
don't know
seen
about this.
what? Have you seen Adolescence yet?
No, and don't tell me about it
I
because
won't. I'm not going to do any spoilers. I'm not going to do any
good,
spoilers. All I'm going to
good.
say is it's a remarkable piece of work. Um, it's yeah, it's a why done it rather than a who done it. It's really good. And that's not spoiling anything. It's out there that that's the sort of thing it
Mm.
is. Um, there's 4 episodes. It's all for the same story, so it's all one story, but it's divided into 4 episodes, and each one is one shot.
Yes, I
And
did hear that. I did hear
yeah,
that.
it's remarkable in so many ways. It's remarkable technically for obviously the one shot and how they've done that. Because some of the angles, I don't know how they've done it as one shot because some of it you walk through a building and it looks like a drone shot. It's really clever, really clever. But also the acting is phenomenal in it. There's the kid who's kind of like the center of it all. I mean, we're going to be hearing a lot from that kid because he is amazing in it. Stephen Graham is his usual
Oh, he's
amazing
great.
self. And it's an amazing piece of work. So, Cam, if you haven't seen it, which you obviously said you haven't, you must see it. Um,
I will do. Yeah.
you can do it in a week. You know, it's an episode a night. You can easily do it. And for anyone who's listened to this podcast who hasn't seen it, and even if you're not interested in the story, that just the way it's been put together, the photography in it is just really good. So do
Well, do
watch
you
it.
know? I remember Dunkirk. I went to see that in the cinema. I'm sure it was Dunkirk. Brilliant. That was all one shot. That was incredible.
Mm.
But we spoke about this quite some time ago. Actually, there is a series on Sky, which then moved to Netflix, which was Gangs of London. A very, very violent,
Yeah,
shall we say? Okay.
I've seen the first season of that.
And I think, from what I remember, I've got a feeling it was in the very first episode, series one. There is a barroom
Yeah,
fight. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
And I have to say that when I watched it, I actually thought it was the greatest bit of filming I'd ever seen.
yeah. It was a
Okay.
good scene. That yeah,
Okay.
was a good. It's
And
violence, but
it's
well
violent,
put
but
together.
I mean, the way it was filmed, I mean, that was pure creativity
Mm.
from a filming point of view, photography point of view, whatever you want to take it. And if anybody hasn't seen it, I urge you to go and watch that first episode
Yeah,
of Gangs of London. And yes, you might not be the sort of thing that you're into, whatever, but have a
Mm.
look at that barroom scene and just
Yeah,
look at it from the way it was shot because it
yeah,
was incredible. So there you go.
yeah.
No, but we're
Really,
not going to
really
give any
good.
spoilers.
No, 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 no. But yeah, do watch it.
All
Um,
right.
so
So, what do we got from around the photography world, Mark?
Well, I'm going to start off with one here. I mean, I saw this story on F-Stoppers, and that's where I'm going to be quoting from. But I think I saw it on Petapixel as well. So it's obviously a story that's doing the round, and it's the headline on the F-Stoppers one is "Avoid this scam that preys on photographers." So as soon as I read that, my ears and my eyes pricked up, as it were. But basically, how the scam works is the scammer, and I'm quoting F-Stoppers here. The scammer, posing as a prospective client for your photography business, inquires about your availability, emails you their requirements for your services for the event that's going to happen soon, and you settle on a price with them. When you ask for deposit, and this person usually asks for 50% up front, they'll tell you that they only handle transactions with checks. If you agree to this condition, they will then send you a check for either the deposit or even the full amount. You deposit the check in the bank, and it seems to clear within a day or two, with the funds appearing as available in your account. They may then ask you to confirm that you've received the payment. And this is in preparation for what happens next. So very soon the payment is cleared at your bank. The scammer will send you an email saying something like, "Our available budget has been reduced," or if the payment also includes certain upfront costs like rental charges or materials, they might say something like, "Instead of having you pay for these items, they'll take care of it." So therefore reducing these charges. So whatever the excuse, the basic message is from the scammer that the gig is still on, but you need to refund part of the payments they sent because there's been some changes on their end. At this point, you probably figure that since the gig is still on and you already have a big chunk of their money, it's no problem to refund it, or refund part of it rather, especially if they are still dangling that juicy payday in front of you. And then this is what happens. So if you go along with the scam, here's what happens next. You send them a refund from your own account, and then you never hear from them again. Worse still, you check your bank account afterwards, and you see that their initial payment has mysteriously evaporated, and you are now out of value of that refund that you sent them. So basically, you've given them the refund, and the money that I gave has disappeared. So that's the scam that's kicking about. Yeah, there you go. That's it. So what do you think about that, Cam?
Well, it doesn't sound like anything new.
No.
I mean, the alarm bells start ringing straight away. And as soon as you hear the word check,
Yeah.
okay, if someone says,
Yeah.
"I'm going to send you a check," I mean, at least here in the UK, I mean, we've not used checks for years. I know in the
I don't.
US, I think they still do.
Yeah.
I think they still do use checks, and it's not uncommon. But here in the UK, if someone says, "I'll send you a check," I mean, that's a no go, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's where the alarm bells start ringing, and I think it's a case of, I don't like to say it really because people have obviously been caught out. It's common sense, but
Yeah.
people do get caught out with with things online, and scams are so good these days. I had a bank account, and I was getting messages, and I thought those emails were spam, so I completely ignored them. As it turned
Mm.
out, it wasn't spam, and my bank
Yeah.
account was shut. and, and I had to reapply for a new bank account, and they were saying, "Oh no, because we'd actually sent you messages on the bank app."
Yeah.
And I said I wasn't aware. I was just getting emails, and I kept just ignoring them,
Yeah.
And so, I fell foul of that. I mean, I wasn't scammed, but
Maybe you were overcautious almost,
I was
weren't you?
overcautious.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's right.
I mean, it
Yeah.
is a problem. I mean, I've had scam emails go into my Facebook, so messages saying, "Oh,
Mm.
your Facebook or your Instagram account has violated the protocols of blah 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 blah. Reply to this now to stop your page from being deleted." Well, you look at where it's from, a random address, and you automatically know, well, hang on a minute, this isn't right. By the way,
My
all my accounts are still up, so it's obviously it's obviously not
my
real.
em- my emails hacked many years ago, and I really
Mm,
panicked. I really panicked, and in actual
yeah,
fact, I didn't need to panic because some odd messages were being sent out to my contacts,
yeah,
and all of
I've
my
had that.
contacts, I think, just knew that
Yeah,
this is someone's hacked this or someone's got in, and then it just stops. So I
Yeah.
don't really think it's anything from that point of view, it's anything to worry about.
It's just
But anyway,
embarrassing, isn't it, from a
but
business?
I think it is. That's right. Yeah. But I think just
Yeah.
have your wits about you. These things happen, and just be careful. So hopefully, not too many people fell foul of
But
this.
I think you are right
Go.
in the fact that I think this story has come from the States, and
Mm.
that would affect them more because they do use checks more than we do. I mean, how do you take your money?
It's all it's really bank transfers
Yeah,
or
bank
card
transfers
payments.
or card payments,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
essentially,
Or
if it's not,
on yeah.
yeah,
On,
if I wouldn't take on the job if someone said, "Oh, I'm going to pay you," I'd be a bit wary about cash these days, to be honest.
yeah. Yeah.
I think unless it's a bank transfer or a card payment, then no. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So I will take cash, but I never get paid in cash ever now. I
No, I
used to
don't. I
going back
don't.
many
But
years ago.
yeah.
For the school, it's online payment, so they just book online.
Mm,
And for weddings, they do bank transfers or pay a deposit online through the online system. So yeah, I mean,
mm,
and then commercial customers, all of them, they all pay with bank transfer. So
yeah. Yeah.
I've got three different things going on, but they're all sort of secure payments. I don't need to sort of chase people for money really from that point of view.
Mm,
It's easy as a business. It's a good point here. As a business, in actual fact, going on to some very slightly different, but we'll sort of stop there with it.
yeah.
Make it easy for your customers to pay you.
Oh
Okay,
yeah. Yeah.
because when you get, if you're a business, if it's easy to buy your service online, okay, make sure that you implement all of those rather than thinking, right, okay, well, I put it in so the customer will contact me, then I'll send them the bank details, then I'll do this, then I'll do that. And now
Mm,
that stops people from impulse buying, and it stops people from actually sort of just going ahead with the booking in that moment. And then when they stop and
mm,
think about it, think, oh no, I'll find somebody else, and you've lost that sale, all for
mm,
the sake of thinking, well, I'll save on bank fees. And from that point of view, I think that's not a good way to look at things. It's not a very business way of looking at things.
no, absolutely.
But
I mean,
that was a
no,
that was a
no. I mean, it's the
slightly
same.
different
I mean,
tangent. Yeah.
I guess with weddings it's a little different because generally it's a consultation of some description
Mm,
before
yeah.
money is spoken about. Because I don't know about you, but I have some set packages. But if they want something a little extra or they want something different, then you
Mm,
change the price accordingly, and then you go right. Well, I need the deposit now
yeah.
before I can book the date in, and that tends to be how I
Yeah.
do
And I
that.
think.
With my family stuff, they pay when they see the photos, they pay on the day before I make them
Mm,
because everything's bespoke. I can't make something without having the payment first because I
mm.
can't sell it to anybody else. Um, so
So
yeah,
yeah, but I think you've got to make your payment um, trustworthy as well. So whoever's
mm,
paying you, like I
yeah,
have students from the school, and they need to know that it needs to look trustworthy. It's got to be
yeah,
trustworthy,
yeah,
and that they'll make that payment without thinking twice about it as well. So
yeah,
it encourages them to book, but it gives them that it's a safe and secure sort of site to
yeah.
deal with as well. So
I know a lot
anyway,
of easy ways. So I just counted a lot of easy ways of
yeah,
having card payments. You don't have to have a line rental card machine anymore. I don't have one. I have
no,
well, it was PayPal. I think it then got turned.
mm,
I think it's SumUp now, which is
yeah,
owned by PayPal. It's a PayPal machine. You
mm,
get charged per transaction. So you're not if you're not using it,
mm,
you're not paying for it. So
that's right,
there's no
yeah,
excuse really now not to have some
no,
sort of card machine or
a- and in actual fact, I don't even use the card machine that I've got now, because I had PayPal. Then I moved to SumUp, and my SumUp machine
yeah.
never worked really well. I just do it on my phone now, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
you
You
don't
can,
e- you don't
don't even need
even
the
need to
machine.
you don't even need the machine. The phone,
Yeah,
I just do it on my phone. It's just tap and go, and it's great.
yeah,
Again, it's
yeah,
making it convenient for the customer to pay you. So
yeah.
anyway, moving on to something
Yes,
else. We all love a little bit of tech, don't we? As photographers, we always say it, love it. We're all a little bit geeky,
yeah.
and
And I think we all like something that's hard, don't we, Cam? Yeah,
exactly. Well,
yeah.
this is very hard. Okay,
It's
Lexar.
very hard.
Okay, it is. Okay, so I'm going to read it from their actual website here. It says Lexar, the Lexar Armor Gold SDXC. Basically, it's an SD card. Is the world's first memory card that uses stainless steel for steel-clad protection of your data. featuring a
Yeah.
pressure resistance of up to 370 newtons, which is 37 times higher than a standard memory card.
I mean, I don't even know what a Newton is, by the way, but
No, nor do
carry
I.
on.
Okay, but this is 37 times more. It says this design ensures the card can endure heavy impact and dissipates heat for long-lasting performance.
Yeah.
Okay, it's gold. Okay,
It's not made from gold, is it? It's steel.
Right. No, yeah, exactly. But it's called Armor Gold, and it is gold, and it looks a pretty substantial sort of card. But bearing in mind, you think it looks pretty thick, but at the same time, it can only be so thick because it's got to be able to slot into your camera card slot, isn't it? And they've said it on looking at their website. It said 37 times stronger than normal SD cards. It says featuring a bending test of up to 370 newtons. This design ensures the card can endure heavy impact. Okay, and so basically, there's a picture on the website that shows it, a normal SD card being pressed down by a machine, and the Armor SD card, and they call it their bending test. There's a 5-meter drop resistance. It says IPX8 water resistance and IP6X dust resistance. Now, the water resistance, they've got the card propped up against some water with some stones, on a stream. The dust resistance looks like it's surrounded by sand, and the drop resistance, they've put the Lexar Gold onto some rocks. It says it built for exceptional reliability. It features anti-magnetic, anti-static X-ray protection and is UV proof to transcend all challenges in shooting. Its super protections and extensive compatibility make it an ideal choice for professionals. It's anti-magnetic, anti-static, temperature resistance, X-ray protection, UV proof, and it says wide compatibility.
Okay.
And
I mean,
do you know,
this is pretty good. This is carry on.
Just one thing I was going to say. Do you know on the back of the SD cards you get these you get those little the gold bits, don't you?
Yeah.
The contacts, and they've got these little black sort of little little lines, shall we say? Now those are very easy to break off. Those little black strips that they have, but this one doesn't have any of those. It's where the gold contacts are. It's completely flat. Which
begs the question: why do we have those things in the first place? But
well, that's right. Yeah. But sorry. Yeah, you were going to say.
Well, I was just about to say there is some design differences as well, isn't there? I mean, it doesn't have a write protect switch now. No. But
it's interesting.
Have you ever used the write protect switch?
Yeah, I have actually.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yes, I have.
I never have. I don't see the point in them really. They're just annoying when they're accidentally switched on. So yeah, that's cool. I will say this is just my only kickback on it. It says anti-magnetic, anti-static, temperature-resistant, X-ray protection, UV proof, and wide capability. I don't know what wide compatibility. Sorry, I can't read. I mean, I'd hope that it's compatible with any SD camera.
It should be.
It should be.
I mean, it has to be. Yeah.
That otherwise, I'm afraid, is a given as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know why they've pushed that. UV proof. Now that's an interesting one. I mean, I've never left my cards out in the sun long enough for it to be a problem. Just going to throw that one out there.
No.
X-ray protection. Obviously, that's for going airports. I mean, touch wood, I've never had a problem with my current cards. But I think I've heard stories that people have, so that's fine. Temperature resistance. I mean, I don't know what kind of temperature you're exposing these cards to for that to be a massive issue. But I guess cold weather if you're doing the Arctic. I guess.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, the only thing I don't know about it is how much is it going to cost?
Well, actually, the interesting question there. I mean, how much do you reckon? I mean, what do you reckon?
Well, what size card are we talking about, first of all?
All right, let's go for the 128 gig.
128 gigabyte.
Now, bear in mind, before you say anything, a 64 gig Lexar card, right? Which 64 gig one is roughly, depending where you buy it, about 50 quid. Okay, now hold on. Okay, because then you get the CF Express cards, don't you? Okay, in fact, let's compare it with the CF Express card. Okay, now a CF Express card is £99. Okay, 128 gig. We're talking like for like here. Okay, CF Express. Okay, so how much do you reckon the 128 gig Lexar Gold Armor card would be? If the CF Express, same size, is £99 from Wet.
Okay.
Get Wet to shout.
Well, I'm guessing it'll be about 80 quid, something like that.
Ah, interesting. Interesting. So you think it's less? It's going to be less than a CF Express card?
Well, the CFX Express card is a bit more than just an hard card, isn't it? So, you know, so I think there's a bit more to it than just it being the Phil Mitchell of SD cards. But that is what this is really. I mean, there's nothing different to this SD card other than the fact that it's well hard. So yeah, I'm going to go with 80 quid.
Oh, no, actually, it's £63.50, so it's
Oh,
not
okay.
that bad. It's, right, and that's from Bristol Cameras. Okay, we gave Wet a shout out. Let's give Bristol Cameras a shout out. Okay, so Lexar, yeah, £63.50. So it's a little bit less. Now, it's great. Okay, I've got one final comment to make on this. It does everything that it says. Okay, I'm sure it's very secure. I'm sure it does everything that it actually says it does. I don't have any problems with it, heat resistance, all of that. I'm sure it's great. However, it's not loss proof, is it? What if you lose the card?
It's not loss proof. And I will just go on to say as well, you know, I've just quickly looked up on Amazon for 128 gigabyte SanDisk card. It's the Extreme Pro. It's the cards I use pretty much, but 128 gigs. Well, it's 17.99. So there is a bit of a cost difference there.
There is a bit of a cost difference, but these things keep coming out.
Yeah,
and we all have a moan, you know, about, oh God, I'm not paying that much for an SD card. I've just seen a 640 gig Lexar card. It's a CF card, and that's £400, which is quite interesting. But yeah. Anyway, right, moving on, Mark.
Moving on. Okay, well, it's another. It's from Petapixel this time. And this one pretty much links onto another Petapixel story that will kind of combine these two. But photographer Peter McKinnon says it's time to let go of Instagram. Now, I watched the video that he was talking about, and he basically gave a brief history about Instagram, which I will kind of go through a little bit now. For those who weren't around when Instagram started, Instagram was really all about sharing photos. That's all it was about. It had to be square. And it's ideally it was taken on your phone, and it was really cool when it started out. It wasn't owned by Facebook then. It was this nice, cool little app that, you know, you share with friends and you put pictures up, and it was just about, you know, people were doing like shoot a picture a day, you know, the 360
I remember that
day sort of thing, and yeah, and that's all it was. They were like little photo diaries of interesting little photos and things like that. Instagram is very different from that now. It's very much trying to be TikTok. You know, it's more about videos. I mean, it's all about reels and stories now, isn't it? It's not what it was before. And Peter McKinnon was basically saying on this is that, you know, it has changed. There was this part when photographers were really getting on board with Instagram and putting their, you know, sort of edited photos. I mean, I did it with my Time Punk stuff. You know, I put all, you know, the cosplay stuff on there. This is not stuff you can just do with a phone. This was really just showing off what I can do as a photographer. And that worked for a bit, but not so much these days. And it's interesting what he was saying. It's the use of it has changed. If people are going to follow me as a photographer, they know I'm a good photographer. So they don't care about the pictures. They want to know more about me. And this is where I have an issue, because I don't post social stuff on any of my Instagram or Facebook pages. I never post anything about the holidays I'm on or anything like that. I just don't see the point. But that's what he was saying has changed, you know. I'm guessing advertising in businesses as well. I put a Mother's Day thing up there and all that kind of stuff. But he was saying, you know, if it looks less professional and more behind the scenes ish, or more about, you know, just using your phone and it feels more real to people, and therefore that's what people want to see. So it was an interesting take.
I don't use social media on a personal basis at all. Okay, I have a Facebook account, I have an Instagram account because for work. Okay, so I have three separate, three separate accounts. I have Abraxas commercial for our commercial work, Abraxas weddings for the weddings, and then Bedfordshire School of Photography for the school. Okay, so they're three separate accounts, and I don't, and I only go on to those to have a to post stuff up. I have a scroll through once a day just to see what's going on, to like some of the people that I know on there that like some of our posts. I'm marketing basically. All right.
Yeah.
I hate using it. I'm just not a social media type of person, which is bizarre considering we are on social media right now doing this. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. But I listen to, however, I do listen to a lot of podcasts. And I go to the gym and I don't listen to music. I'll go for a walk. I'll always have a podcast on rather than listening to music. And I'm in the car. It's 90% of the time it's a podcast more so than music. Now those podcasts can be of loads of different subjects. Okay, wide variety of different subjects, and that's the social media that I use. So and then so when I say I don't like Instagram, don't like Facebook, some people love it and there is a place for it. As photographers, I do agree with the fact that I think people are looking for behind the scenes stuff. They like the real sort of thing. I'm not. Now look, I might be, and I really don't mean to sound sexist in any way here. So if anyone thinks that, please, it might be that I've just not articulated myself.
Yeah, just
well
email
here, okay?
cam@cam.com. Okay.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. I think when it comes to social photography, like wedding photography, I think this is where females have got a huge opportunity is not the right word, advantage. I'm not sure, but they're so good with just talking about their daily bits and pieces. Really, I think they have won over male photographers because of that, and I think they can do that more. They can very much be the "oh, I love your dress" type. This is got to be really careful here the way I say, "oh, I love your dress," "oh, I love the way you've done your makeup," "oh, I get," "oh,
I think I know what you're saying here, because it's one of those things where if Nat goes and sees some of her girlfriends and stuff, she'll come back with all these stories about what's going on and all this kind of thing, right? I go to the lake with the boys and she'll go, "So, how is everyone?" And I go, "Yeah, they're all right." And then they go, "Well, what do you talk?" Well, we just talk rubbish. But the whole time of being there, we don't talk about, and I think that is a difference, isn't it?
How was such and such's wife and their kids? Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
All right,
I
guess. I didn't ask, or I did, but I can't remember what they said.
I can't remember because we were too busy talking about the football, or we were talking about, something stupid,
Exactly, that's right. I think it's like that the world over. So I think, I've been in a situation where I've worked with female photographers, and a wedding is a classic example over it. And the conversations that they're having with the bride and the bridesmaids, there's no guy who's going to have those conversations at all. No. You're not going to talk about the bride's shoes and how amazing they look. You're just not going to do it.
I actually do that though. I always compliment the shoes.
I know. I have said, "Oh, your shoes, oh, they're great," something like that. But
I don't go, saying, "Oh, where did you get them from? Oh, that was a good price." No, we're not going to say that, are we?
That's right. Yeah. So when it comes to the behind the scenes stuff, I think when it comes to social photography, it's I think women do have a really good advantage over that. Hey, and they should make use of that. If you're marketing yourself, market yourself and take advantage of that. Okay. So I'm not having a go. I'm not.
No.
I'm just saying it is the way it is.
But it is a marked difference.
I think when it comes to posting your photos on Instagram as a business, I mean, people are looking at great photos all the time. I mean, I'll scroll through Instagram and think, wow, that's amazing. That's a great picture. That's a great picture. You can actually just, without realizing it, can become mind numbing. And how do you differentiate if you're looking for a photographer to shoot a job for you, whatever type of photography it is, how do you differentiate, from so many photographers that are posting really good stuff on? And I'll still always say it, okay, is that I don't like it when photographers post, and I'm talking about, I guess, well, photographers who post stuff up to say I'm a working photographer, but it's not actually a real shoot. Okay, so wedding photographers, they collaborate with other wedding suppliers and they get a model and all of that and say, hey, look at this. Okay. So a lot of people, what they do is they go to workshops, they'll attend a studio portrait workshop, they'll attend a wedding workshop, and what they'll do is at that workshop that they'll start posting the pictures as if more like to sort of say, well, look at, this is what I can do, this is what I'm capable of doing. But
Mm.
no, they're not capable of doing that. It's such a, and your average person goes by that and thinks, I'm going to book that person for my wedding or for my family portrait or for this shoot. Come the day, and the photographers, and you end up with, you know. So I think in my opinion, photographers should stop. Don't stop doing themed shoots for practice, but please don't use them for marketing. Don't put them on your website, and don't put any photos on your website that are not a real bride and groom, you know, and
But I
not a
guess
real
that's,
family portrait.
but
And
that is
yeah,
where I guess social media accounts do come in handy, because you can say, okay, so this is this shoot, we're doing this, it's really interesting, this is a model, blah 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 blah. I guess you could do it for Instagram if you're doing behind the scenes stuff, right?
yeah, of course you can. That's right. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
behind the scenes stuff you could do. I'm just anti a lot of what is put out, because I don't think it's genuine. And I think if you're selling yourself as a professional photographer or a videographer, I think anything that you put out has got to be paid work, stuff that you've done for clients, not fake shoots that you've set up and had a go. And I don't. And here's another little
We've,
moan.
we've
Sorry,
massive
Mark.
gone across,
Yeah.
really gone
Right.
away from the subject here, Cam. But
Is I came across this. I picked it up at the photography show, and it
mm,
was to do with a learning platform, shall we say? And they were saying, come along and build your portfolio. Right? Is you have the opportunity to choose these great shots and put them in your portfolio. And I didn't agree with that, because they're not genuine. Go and learn it, but don't make out that it's your photography, even if you've done it at a workshop, because I
mm.
don't believe that it is. That's just, I'm sorry, that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah,
You
no,
know, I
that's
do
fair.
feel,
That's fair.
you know, because that makes it even harder for professional photographers that are out there, that are genuine professional photographers. You know,
Yeah. No,
I
I get
get,
what you're saying.
you know what
I
I
think
mean?
the only pushback I'd have on that is if you're just starting out, it's chicken and egg situation, isn't it? You can't get the clients in unless you can show them pictures, but you can't show them pictures unless you have the clients in. And sometimes you do need to do some shoots like that just to show people what you can do photographically.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the thing is, that's always been that catch 22. Okay, it's
Yeah.
not now, it's always been like that. It was when
No,
I
I
first
know.
started out in
Yeah,
photography.
of
When you
course.
start, how was I going to do it?
Yeah.
I worked for a number of different photographers. I was shooting stuff, working for these photographers. They were genuine jobs, but they weren't going on social media. But I used to
Mm.
carry a portfolio case around
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
So
I
go
did.
to job interviews and you'd open up your portfolio case, and that's what they'd be looking at. And nowhere in my portfolio are any fake shoots. They were all paid for work. You know,
Yeah,
so
but I guess
um,
when I came out from uni, I had to put uni work in there, which I would probably suggest would be those fake shoots.
I
Otherwise,
think,
how would I get the
however,
job?
thing is, I think that's a different situation. I think you can say you're a student. This is the work that you did at uni. I think you can be
Yeah.
open about it. It should be fair enough to say, you know, if a wedding photographer puts up pictures of a model wearing a wedding dress, I think they should make it quite clear this was not a genuine wedding. This was
Mm.
not a genuine family portrait. This is not a genuine shoot of whatever it is. You know, this was, you know, this, you know. Anyway, we've
Anyway,
sort of moved on.
we have
Right,
really
let's
diverted
jump
from
on.
the main thing.
We have,
So, well,
right.
the next story kind of links in because it's about social media and stuff like that in a way. So now, again, it's a Petapixel story, and this is a specific story, but I think we could probably generalize this a little bit as well. So, tourists blocked from famed selfie spot in Ibiza by angry locals. So, there's an area in I think I say Spain. Is it of Ibiza? That must be in Ibiza. I mean, I've never been, so I don't know. But
Right.
it's called the S Vidra Viewpoint. Has now been blocked and is now off limits to tourists. Residents and landowners in Calahort de Son. I hope I'm pronouncing these right. Sorry, it's the Cala de Hort de Son Joseph area have blocked off the unofficial car park with rocks and cordoned off the footpaths to stop tourists from accessing the selfie spot. They'll have to leave without the photo, a local protester said, after they closed access to the viewpoint. And it's, I mean, looking at these pictures, it's always about this the rise of selfie tourism, and it's all selfies in front of this rock. I mean, it does look a really nice place, and seeing this, I kind of want to go and take photos of myself, which is kind of really counterproductive to what the locals are saying. But I guess it's just, I mean, this story aside, this really goes to, I mean, we've had many selfie stories, haven't we?
Oh
And
God,
about,
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I think we spoke about years ago. I think when we just started, we spoke about some TikTok video selfie stuff about outfits, didn't we? Do you remember
yes,
that story?
I do.
Um,
Yeah,
and I guess it wouldn't have gotten to this point where residents have taken it on their own hand to block the car park, to block the footpaths, you know. And I'm sure there were people going, yeah, but without the tourists, you guys won't have an economy, blah, 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 blah. Um, but I guess it's because of a lack of respect. I think there is an entitlement now when it comes to this sort of thing to take the photos, to take the selfies, no matter where you are or what you're doing or who you're annoying, basically. Um, there probably should have been some intermediary conversation before it got to this point. You know, you have X amount of people per day, or you get someone there to sort of, you know, have some official to moderate things to, you know, make sure it's. But I'd imagine what's going on is the locals are having to put up with this stampede of people every summer, going to this point and probably trashing a place, leaving litter, I'm guessing, all this kind of stuff. And the
mm.
locals are sick of it, and I can understand that.
Yeah. I mean, it happens world over, doesn't it? I mean, there is your social media type of person. I mean, you've got this thing now, haven't you, of people are saying that they've got no interest of going to places, but the only reason why they've gone to a place is to get that Instagram photo.
Yeah,
You know, this is where we get, you know, like I'm here, this is where I've been. They take the picture, that's all it was about. Get on Instagram,
on to
and
the
they don't
next.
actually, they don't give a damn about actually where they are, and there's no respect for where they are and the people that
Yeah,
are around them, you know.
it's a status
So
symbol, isn't it?
yeah, it is a status symbol. So, you know, it's like, look where I've been, you know, and they've got no idea really of where they've been. It's just to get that amazing picture, you know,
Yeah.
and stick on Instagram. But there you go. I think that's our social media bit done. I think, Mark,
I
for
think
this
so.
show.
So we'll move on from social media.
Right,
Um,
more, yeah, exactly right. More gear. Okay, we're going to a couple of quick ones here. I love this new product. It's the Godox IM20, IM22 camera flash.
yeah, looking at
And
this.
yeah, now a lot of people, when they buy a camera, a small mirrorless camera or an entry level DSLR, it has those little pop up flashes, which are a waste of time, really.
Yeah.
And the more money you spend on a camera, the less likely it is that it's going to have any sort of built-in flash.
Yeah.
And what you do with those, when it doesn't have built-in flash, then what you're going to do is you're going to use a dedicated flash gun, which is a separate unit altogether. And if you know how to use flash and you know how to use it well, then you know, it can really lift your photography. But you've
Mm.
also got to know how to use it. But they
Mhm.
can be quite big. You know, I mean, I've got the dedicated flash guns. In fact, I have got a Godox,
Mhm.
and which was very kindly given to me for free uh, by
You need to remember who these people are,
God,
Cam.
I
Come on
can't
now.
actually remember. Can't remember who it was
Camera
now.
World.
Okay, Camera World. That's right. Okay, very kindly gave me one for free. Okay,
Yes.
sometime, and I love it. Okay, but it's not the sort of thing that you can just. For me, it's too big just to say I'm going out to take a few pictures and I'll put my flash on and whatever. If I
Yeah.
wanted to go out and take pictures just for street stuff and my own enjoyment type of thing, it's different if I'm working professionally. So Godox have introduced this tiny little flash. I say tiny, it's this very small flash, flash and go, it says. And it says
Mm.
designed for ultimate portability. It says compact, I'm reading from their website, compact and travel friendly. They seamlessly fit into your bag while attached to your camera. The hassle-free design means you'll never need to remove them. Equipped with a lithium battery and Type-C charging, you can recharge anytime and keep shooting without interruptions. 5 adjustable power levels. These flashes adapt perfectly to any lighting condition, and they're great from DSLRs to mirrorless and entry-level models, and they look fantastic. So if you so it's called the Godox IM20, IM22 flash. I think they are well worth having in your camera kit. They're not expensive either, depending on which one you actually buy. They're anything from about 20 to about £40 from what I can see, 22 to £50, something like that, depending on where you get it from. So they're
Oh,
really
really?
cheap, really
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah.
So now
I think
jumping on.
the only thing I'd say, just to
Mm,
give I wish they had a bit of bounce ability. You can't bounce them, can you?
You can't. I think, but
That was
then that's
that's the only
right.
thing I'd have liked to have seen. Just, I
Yeah,
mean, maybe not with the IM20 because that is a tiny little thing, but I think with the
yeah,
IM22, just to have that swizzle head on the top, I think would have been
yeah,
useful.
yeah. No, I do. Yeah, I do agree. But then I guess it just gets that little bit bigger, doesn't it? And I think that's what they've
Yeah,
tried to
I know
do.
what they're trying to
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
but yeah, I think I would
yeah.
have. I'd be
So
more likely to buy it if I had that capability as well.
exactly, that's right. Yeah, and then the last bit of sort of tech equipment that we're sort of talking about, Elinchrom were very well known for their flash studio flash units. Have introduced the new LED 100C continuous light. And as far as I know, this is their first venture into continuous light. It says the
Yeah.
LED 100C is the perfect continuous light accessory for Elinchrom and Pro Photo users who need an LED solution that integrates effortlessly into their workflow. And it says whether
Mm.
used on its own or in combination with Flash, it expands creative possibilities, making it an essential tool for professionals and aspiring creators alike. I think this is brilliant. I think I guess really these LED lights have really come more into play for videographers. You know, with studio
Yeah.
photographers, it was always about right. Let's use the flash for. You know, we need studio flash. And Studio Flash was made great because they're now battery powered. That means you can use Studio Flash when you're outside as well on location, so much easier.
Mm.
But LED lights are great because you turn an LED light on, and whatever you set it at, you can see exactly what it's going to be because you're not shooting with flash. And with these LED lights, you can change the color temperature, so you can go from a very warm yellowy reddy light to a very cool blue type light, and all the bits in between. So you can light your images exactly as you want using continuous light. I love continuous lights. I can't remember the ones I've got. Some big round ones, which are great. I can't remember. I've got Pro Photo, I think, and I
Yeah.
use those really for video, and I have used them for photography occasionally. But again, more new kit coming out, and it's something I think a lot of, particularly coming from Elinchrom, it's going to be, a quality product.
Yes.
And which, yeah, so it's good. It's good to see them doing that as well.
Well, I'm just looking at the price of some of these things. I mean, I'm looking at park cameras here. Elinchrom LED 100C LED light kit with chargers, which I think is one light. Then you get one light. You get looks like a sort of a fit thing, and a charger, and you got a dome, and a case, and you're looking at £549, which for an LED light is on the pricey side.
It is, but I have to say it is Elinchrom, and it looks
It
looks
looks
a
the
hell of a
biz.
unit.
Yes.
So it's going to be, it's a solid unit, put it that way, and you get what you pay for at the end of the day.
But it does come with the adapter ring, and I'm guessing, looking at the Elinchrom sort of on their page, it is to be used with umbrellas, it is to be used with soft boxes, so you would have to buy those bits on top. Unlike the ones that you got, those big LED ones that you've got, which is pretty much all in one. But they Go Docs, I can't remember now.
No, I can't remember what they are.
No.
I think a Pro Photo, Pixapro.
Pixapro, okay,
something like that.
So they, I don't know how much they were, but they're probably.
I can't remember. I will look it up for next time because they're quality. They're quality.
They
units.
are good, but they'll be cheaper than those Elinchrom ones, and you wouldn't necessarily have to buy the extra bits as well. But I am an Elinchrom user. I love their flash guns. I think their ergonomics are fantastic. I think the way they're built is fantastic. They are really good lights. So you do pay for what you get. But yeah, £549 for an LED light is on the pricey end of the scale, I'd say.
But good stuff. So
yeah.
All right, and then finally, before we move on to the second half of the show, and
we should get some party hats for this
one. Photography show. Exactly, that's right. Yeah, and remember, we're going to be talking exclusively to Nikon, Sony, and Adobe in Canada. So we're looking forward to that. But there is a happy birthday, as you said, party hats.
It's a happy birthday, hence the need for party hats.
And it's very special because it's 100th. It's 100th. It's 100th birthday,
which has staggered me because they don't look a day over 70.
Exactly. So yeah. Now I picked this story up from the photography shows. In fact, it was from the Photography News, newspaper. So we've actually got. Can you see that newspaper there?
You can hardly see it because of the green screen stuff.
Okay, right. Okay, so it says the photo booth is turning 100. Says
I
this year,
cannot
Autophoto.
believe they're 100.
I know. This year, Autophoto, a company dedicated to preserving and restoring vintage photo booths, is coordinating a variety of activities around the UK, the US, and beyond to celebrate the 100th birthday of the photo booth. Originally introduced in 1925 by Anatole Josepho, the coin-operated Photomaton became a hit in New York, drawing hundreds of thousands of users. Over the following decades, photo booths became a public staple used by everyday people and made iconic by cultural figures such as Andy Warhol and the Beatles.
Yeah.
To mark this centenary, Autophoto has organised events highlighting the historical and artistic significance of the photo booth. And it says the celebrations began in February at Spitalfields Market in London. With the Real Selfie Project, and it says other key of UK events include an exhibition at the Photographers Gallery, an installation at Photo London in May, and activities at Steele Centre for Photography in Scotland. To find out more, visit the Autophoto. That's Auto, A-U-T-O, Photo is F-O-T-O.org, autophoto.org. We will put a link with the show notes. But you know what? We've all been in a photo booth, and
Yeah.
you know that was where everyone would go for their passport photos. But do you remember, I think the greatest moment ever in a photo booth was the classic Hamlet cigar ad. And with Rabsy
Nesbitt.
Okay.
Vaguely. I mean, I was probably a bit younger than you at the time. But...
Exactly. You have to be a certain age to remember that. And if anyone hasn't seen it, I urge you to go onto YouTube to watch the Hamlet photo booth cigar ad, because it is an absolute classic.
I remember Russ Abbott doing a lot of stuff with Hamlet cigars, but
right. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, it was Rabsy Nesbitt, and anyway, I won't go into what it was, but it was a great. So, I mean, photo booths are still around now in a different form and a different guise. Obviously, you see a lot of photo booths at lots of events, whether it's a wedding or whether it's a corporate type of event. It doesn't really matter. Photo booths are still very much, that thing, but because you walk away with a real photo.
Yeah, I think absolutely.
I think that's what makes it, quite, people still want to go into a photo booth, have a photo taken. But before, I mean, also when I think about it, photo booths were really all about, that you went in there for a reason, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because
it's more about fun now, isn't it? I mean, I just have to say, I mean, this is the sort of thing that everybody who has a birthday wants to hear is, they don't look that. I never thought they'd be 100 years old. I mean, I thought they came out in the 70s or the 80s, not in 1925. So they're looking very good for their age, I have to say. And we always think about them being, I suppose they're new to weddings, I guess, in comparison to the age of the booth. But amazing. I can't believe they're 100 years old.
Good stuff. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Mark, let's grab a drink and then we are going to jump into the photography show.
The photography show. Excellent.
Right, Mark. So the photography show, here it is.
Yes. So so just to explain what we're going to do, we did do some video footage whilst we were there, so we're going to play that in a bit. But Cam, what did you think? I mean, it was a new venue this year. I've never been to it other than in the NEC, so it's now the Excel. So new venue. What did you think?
I thought it was really good. Once you're in there, you forget that you were at Excel, because you could have just as easy been in the NEC. However, I will say, and is getting there was frankly a nightmare, because I was only going on from Bedford, so it should have been a direct train into London. Very easy, 30 minutes on the train and then the tube. Okay, one line, great, here we go. But every weekend there seems to be engineering works, and I know that I have to do the engineering works, fine, don't have a problem with that. However, it meant that I had to drive somewhere else, then get into the car, drive somewhere, park there. It wasn't too bad, okay, but frankly it was a pain, because I know that what they're doing here from Bedford is they have a bus replacement service, so you go up to Luton or Hitchin, and then you get the train from there, and then from Bedford they were doing a bus service, and if you're relying on the bus service, you can imagine how slow that's going to be and how long that's going to be. And I know that's got nothing to do with the photography show.
No,
but
of course not.
The thing is that is the problem of London. But then, okay, there are the people that will travel from further south that will say, oh, it's so much easier going from London to rather than to, from Brighton, say, to London, and then you're going to get a lot of people that maybe were from Manchester, Newcastle, up north, Scotland, that didn't go to the show because it was in London. And you're never going to please everyone. So I guess wherever they have it, I don't think that there is I don't think there's an answer to that. And I believe that they're going back to the NEC next year, but then I think it possibly
I think they're alternating. I think they're alternating, unless we hear it. That was the vibe that I got. I personally, my opinion on it, personally, I much prefer it at the NEC. It's a 15-minute drive for me to get to the NEC. That's a very selfish point of view, and I admit that. So obviously, I'm going to prefer it at the NEC. I spoke to as a friend of mine that works for one of the companies who were there. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't But he was saying about how yes, he heard about it being difficult for people to get there, but they got more international people from there. I think it was more accessible for Europe, which I understand that completely makes sense for the show because we are now. I guess we are a gateway to a lot of the American companies. And also some of the Asian companies, we are a gateway almost to Europe. Less so now since Brexit, I think, but nevertheless, geographically, if you have the Excel near to Heathrow, one of the major airports, lots of European travel coming. I kind of get it. I kind of get why they want to do that. I do think if you are looking at just for the British punters, I still think Birmingham is the way to go because it's central. It's as difficult or easy from someone from Newcastle as someone that is from Brighton to get there. I get that. So I don't know. Maybe if they just keep alternating it every year, maybe that is the answer. Maybe that's the compromise.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you there. I'm not going to say one is better because everyone's going to have their own opinion on that. But I think logistically, that's going to be quite difficult for those guys. It must be difficult for them to do because you plan everything for an event and there's a lot of planning goes into it. And if you've got it the same as the year after. And on that note, obviously, we were really lucky as to have our press passes, and thank you for Hazel and her team for organising those for us as they have done in previous years and giving us really good access to all the show and the speakers and everything, which is why we got the content that we did and why we have access to what we do. So thank you, Hazel, again for your team for that. I must point that out there. Did you buy anything?
I did not. No. Did you? Well, apart from a load of petrol and a train ticket. Sorry.
I'm not going to stop you on that, are we, Mark?
No. Sorry.
Okay, so no, I didn't. For the first time ever, I didn't buy anything. However, I did buy something following that, and I don't have it with me, and I really wish I had it with me. So on the next episode, what I'm going to do is, I'll tell you what it is in a minute, but I'm going to show it and we'll do a quick review. But I went out and bought the Nikon ZF-C.
Oh, you actually bought it in the end?
I bought it. I got it.
You went for the Nikon and not the Canon one?
I went for Canon haven't released it yet.
Haven't actually released it yet?
No, this is 2025, 2026. I thought, I'm not going to wait.
Okay.
Canon. Yeah. And the Nikon ZF-C is a very sexy retro camera. I bought it.
It's basically an FM2 with a screen on the back, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I bought it because I wanted to. I've not for years taken pictures for real enjoyment. I've sort of moved away from that. More so recently because I've been dedicating more time to the school. I've sort of got into it a bit more, thinking, I perhaps want to do this a little bit more. And it's really interesting because one of the main cameras I use, Mark, as you know, is the Canon R6. And yet when I picked up this Nikon ZF-C, and I've now had it for I don't know, about 10 days, I love picking it up and I love using it.
Yeah.
Pick up and it occurred to me thinking that I think I'm not talking mirrorless cameras in general. I'm talking about digital cameras in general.
Yeah.
I think they're all a bit soulless. That's what it made me
think. No, you are absolutely right.
The Canon R6, okay, an amazing camera, okay?
Yeah.
It's just a work tool. It's no more than that. Okay, yeah, it looks good. It's got, but I don't enjoy picking it up and love using it. ZF-C, there's just something about it. The style of it and everything is
Yeah.
just great. But we are moving away from the photography show here, so let's switch straight back to the
Yes,
photography
yes,
show.
we will.
Okay.
Yeah,
So anyway, so I
absolutely.
did buy something.
Yeah.
We walked around the. Sorry, let me step back a minute. Getting into the show, I just want to go right from the beginning and the experience of that.
Yeah.
Because they had on when we got there, that I found out that they had the baby show going on, and they had this other dance thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay, going on. So there were there was a wide range of people there, shall we
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
And there were all these young girls practicing their little school girls practicing their little dance routines going on about left and right, which was a little bit bizarre, really.
It was like that Run DMC video, wasn't it? It's expecting some dance off going about to happen,
exactly,
you know?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Getting into the show was really easy.
Yeah.
The scanning and all of that, getting in was
Yeah.
great. I like that. It was really slick. There were
Yeah.
no long queues to get in. I went 3 days. I went for the first day that we went for the podcast.
Yeah.
Then for 2 days, I went for 2 other reasons on that. So I went on the Saturday, Sunday, and the Monday, and I was actually going to go on the Tuesday for another reason, but that got called off. I did think it was quiet over the weekend. That was my thing, which is great because I felt
well, it's great for you.
Yeah, it's great to go over and talk to anyone and talk about some cameras and stuff and not have these long queues of people. So I was wondering whether the weekend was quieter than the Monday and the Tuesday. The Monday I felt was a little bit busier. Saturday and Sunday were really, or did I go Sunday, Monday? I can't remember, but the weekend was definitely quieter.
Well, we went Saturday.
Went Saturday and I went Sunday.
I didn't think it was really quiet. I thought... I mean, it's very rare I go on a Saturday. I tend to go on the Monday. So to go on the Saturday was quite a bit different. And actually, I felt that because also we did do some Vox Pops, didn't we? And I think some of the questions that we asked, I felt like not many people were as interested in going to some of the talks. And I'm putting that down to the fact that it was on a Saturday and not a Monday, because Monday is, I guess, traditionally it was the student day / pro day / and I felt like more people would probably be interested in the talks. I could be completely wrong. It might be that the batch of people we asked just happened to all not be interested in the talks. One person, I mean, and you'll see later on, one person actually had a name of one of the speakers. And I'm guessing that was because it was on a Saturday and not a Monday. I'm guessing that's what's it.
I was just looking at my diary actually, because with so much going on, I couldn't remember when I did. So I did go on just on the Saturday and the Sunday. I didn't go on the Monday.
Oh, you didn't go on the Monday?
No, I would assume that it was much busier on the Monday. However, saying that, I did think it was very quiet on the Saturday and Sunday. Now, attendance might prove me wrong. They might have hit numbers and targets. I hope they did. I hope they did hit their targets. I mean, that would be good.
I just to underline it. I didn't think it was as quiet as you said. I mean, no, it wasn't rammed, but I didn't think it was empty or anything.
It could have been that
I thought it was busy.
Do you know, it could have been that it was maybe, I don't know about this. It may have been over a bigger area, maybe over a larger area, which meant that it didn't look like there were as many people. I didn't think there were, but anyway, but good range of stands. Adobe were there.
They were.
Right. That was one thing. We did speak to Adobe.
We did.
And you'll hear that soon. Sony were fantastic. As usual, they gave us so much. We've got really good links now with Sony, which
Canon as well.
Canon as usual. I mean, they're so good with us, Canon. Nikon. Look, we've always said it. They did speak to us.
He was actually
Mark.
To be honest,
really good.
He was really good.
Great.
Yeah.
But he was really good. Okay. Honestly, right, Nikon, and we've said this before. You got to sort yourselves out, okay? Right? There is no.
Wow.
It's like there's no. You get nothing from Nikon. They're very close. I find Nikon to be a very closed shop. I really do. And I mean, Canon and Sony are just the complete opposite. They're like, we'll do whatever you like. Come and have a chat with us. We'll introduce you to this person. This is the person that you need to talk to. Nikon, it's like no, no one.
I don't think. I don't think they were like that.
It is, Mark. It is. No. I
think previous years, I felt there was a little bit of a reluctance from Nikon to do interviews with us. This year, I did not get that at all. I was like, wow, okay, this is a marked difference. And don't get me wrong, Nikon have been really good with us, and every year it's just I don't want to. I'm just trying not to be because they did give us that interview, and actually, I thought he was
But he
really
was
open,
great.
and he
Oh,
was
he was
really,
brilliant.
really good.
He was willing to talk to us, and honestly, he was fantastic. But I'm just saying, Nikon as a company, I think, we've had Canon representatives on for the podcast. We've had Sony representatives on. It's never been a problem. Nikon, they don't even reply back to you, right? So somebody and Nikon.
Well, they're not going to now.
I'm sorry, no, but I'll put it out there, right? I'm sorry, Mark. You're probably thinking, "Oh no, what's he saying?" Right?
What are you doing?
Okay, right, yeah. No, but the thing is, this show is for photographers. It's a show by photographers for photographers, right? Whether you're a professional in the industry or whether we don't want to sugarcoat it, right? Yes, he was great, but Nikon
I'm going to stick up for Nikon
as a corporate. Nikon as a corporation are very closed. They don't seem to want to. And I went and bought a Nikon ZFC. As I said
I know. I actually think they were a lot better this year when we spoke to them. I thought the guy was very open. And also, I think the things that they were talking about as well, I love what they do with their firmware. They're very much on that, aren't they? Which is great for when you buy a Z9. I mean, he goes on to talk about that, which I don't want to talk about too much. I also think the Nikon School, I think they're doing a lot with that now.
That's brilliant.
And I think that is absolutely brilliant. So to say they're closed off, I think it might not be right. I think Nikon had their issues about 5 or 6 years ago with being slightly behind with the mirrorless than the other companies. I'd imagine they had a lot of journalists, interviewers kind of really having a dig at that. So, and I'd imagine they were kind of like, oh, for heaven's sake, just get over it. We're working on it. Do you know what I mean? Which I kind of get. Also, they closed from Japan and they went over to, was it Thailand? I can't remember.
Yeah, there was, wasn't it? Yeah.
I can't remember where they... I can't remember where they went to, but they did close. So I don't know. I think I think I got a better vibe from them this year, and I think actually they seem a lot more confident as well now.
Yeah, possibly. I mean,
and I think that's something to do with it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Nikon. I love their products. I think what they do is absolutely brilliant. I just think it's their communications department is
the guys we need to speak to. Stop.
They could communicate more. Okay, right. Moving on.
Thank you, Nikon, for taking the time.
Shall we put on the video that people can see or have a listen to?
Yeah. And let's do that. We can then dig ourselves out this hole later. Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, right. Excel London 2025.
Here at the photography show outside the press office. Let's go and check it out.
Okay, right, we're talking to Neil here. He's from Nikon Training School. And Neil, thank you for joining us.
No problems at all.
Okay, so right off, what's hot for pros this year? What product would you say is hot for pros?
So here on the Nikon stand, we've got the Z8, which is a super popular camera. Specification is just insane on it. It offers so many features, wildlife tracking, landscapes, portraiture, whatever you want to shoot with it. It's a camera that does it all. We've also got the Z6 III, which is a great backup camera to a Z8 if you want. Again, 24 megapixels, if you don't need the 45 megapixels that's on the Z8. Great all-round camera for shooting all sorts of genres of photography.
And video as well, it's got great video capabilities.
Both of those cameras have got amazing video capabilities, whether you want to shoot 8K, 6K as well, so you can do all sorts of different stuff with those cameras.
Yeah. Flagship model is still the Z9.
It is,
right?
yeah.
Is that still on Mark 1, the Z9? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is on Mark 1, but what we've been doing both with the Z9, the Z8, we've been rolling out very advanced firmware releases, so we've updated the cameras, so even though they're 2 to 3 years old now, out, they're still brand new, they're still competitive because the firmware updates add whole ranges of autofocus features, video features. We've just dropped a big firmware release for the Z8 and Z9, which has really enhanced all the video features as well, with the new video lenses we've just launched as well.
That's really good, isn't it? Because to know with firmware update, people perhaps won't need to change their models so much. So often, if that's what people are thinking of, people buying into something like the Z9 or any of the Z range, which is really good, I can guarantee a lot of people don't even update their firmware, do they, on a regular basis? So how often should you be, just as a matter of course, I know you can look out for updates online and whatever, but should there be, okay, look, once a year I'm just going to go on and just do a firmware? Or
great question there, and one of the things we do at the training school is try and encourage people to update their firmware, but you're quite right, not everybody does. You can sign up for the newsletters, you can sign up for the email, you can sign up for the social media accounts we have, because when we do drop firmware, it is announced. We do make big announcements all that with press releases as well, and it does keep people's cameras current, so they don't necessarily need to, once they've invested in that camera, they don't need to go out and buy another camera body, because we're keeping it current as well.
Yeah,
so
that's good to
just
know,
look on all the social channels, look on the newsletters.
That is looking after the consumer, is looking after the customer, isn't it? So
well, it keeps the updates going, doesn't it? I mean, you know, especially with something like the Z9, it's a fair outlay, isn't it? And you want that camera to have that longevity over the years, which, you know, does really help. Also, we're speaking about pro stuff. What about for entry level? What's going on as far as entry level, as far as hot cameras, that kind of
exciting stuff. So we've got the Z52, which is new. So what we're seeing at the moment is we start with the Z9 and then we trickle down the technology. So that comes down into the Z8, comes down into the Z6 III, and then trickles into the Z52. Okay. So a lot of people were talking to us about, oh, where's the D500 replacement? Where's the Pro DX? Yeah. And you've got the Z52 there that has all the trickle down technology from the Z9 in it. So it's got the advanced focusing systems. I would seriously consider it myself, as though I shoot wildlife, and backup camera, Z52, DX reach as well. So you get all that great benefit there. So Z52, super exciting, and at a really, really good price point as well.
Awesome.
Now, interesting on that is that, look, we know the industry's going mirrorless. Okay, it's there as far as we're concerned, whatever. DSLR, entry level, would you still, I mean, you know, for people wanting to get in that? Or is it just, no, we don't even go there with the conversation anymore? Because, you know, a lot of people are still, a lot of people are entry level are still buying DSLRs.
Yes, they are. Yeah, so, they are. And
so, what's your take on that? I mean, say no, just don't go for DSLR if you want to say that. But.
So our advice is, there's great cameras out there. Nikon's had a long range of great cameras, DSLR, mirrorless. Mirrorless now offers you state-of-the-art technology. With the DSLRs, you can't do things like bird tracking, animal tracking, eye tracking, and all that sort of really advanced stuff that, as a photographer, just makes your life easier. So if people are looking to get into photography, we do tend to recommend they go down the mirrorless route because they get technology that helps them become a better photographer. You've got the wider bayonet mount, you've got the 55mm bayonet mount. The lenses are sharper as well. It's lighter. Than
the push is there to mirrorless, obviously, isn't it? That's right.
So
it's talking about longevity, I guess. You know, we just talked about the firmware and all that. Mirrorless is the way forward. That is where it's going. DSLRs will become a thing of the past eventually. So if you're going to start, you might as well start with the mirrorless.
So on that entry level, Z52 you said, wasn't it?
So we've got the Z52 and there's a camera below that called a Z30, but that's primarily for video and vlogging. It doesn't have a viewfinder. So again, it's a bit of a specialist. You can use it for stills if you want, but if somebody's really into their stills photography and they still want to do video, Z52 is. What
sort of price is that?
Go and talk to our retailers because they'll all do it at different prices.
That's right.
Okay. Is it APS-C?
It's the DX. DX. Yeah. So 1.5 crop.
One final question. It's about AI. Okay. I don't know if you've got a response to this or not. Okay. But do you see AI as being an inbuilt camera feature with Nikon?
That's a really, really interesting question. It's actually way above my pay grade to answer that one. But personal view would be that we're releasing new technology, new cameras all the time. And I'm sure we like to keep at the cutting edge of technology. So never say never, but I'm super excited to see what's coming downstream like you guys are.
Yeah. Good stuff. Great. Thank you for that.
No problems at all.
Okay.
Cheers.
Okay, great. Thanks,
Cheers.
Neil.
Thank you.
Okay, Medya, thank you for joining us again. Okay, so we have Medya from Canon here.
Becoming a returning feature on the podcast, right? Yeah. Almost part of the podcast team, Medya.
Thank you.
So, what's hot for pros this year? What camera would you say is hot for pros?
Well, for the photography show, we have the R5 Mark II and the R1, because last year the show was in March, so that was before we launched them.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, the R5 Mark II, it's been, I mean, you could see busier area there. The R1, so obviously the R1 is our new flagship EOS R camera, because we had the 1DX. So probably the most exciting ones, so many features and new technologies in those cameras where we basically pushing boundaries with like innovative features. We've got like using deep learning or AI, as loads of people call it, for the autofocus, improving the image quality as well. We have like action priority in these cameras, where it's almost like teaching the camera how football, basketball and volleyball is played, and the camera analyzes that move and ensures that the focus is always on that right player, making those movements, the joint movements, or where the ball is, so you'll never miss score, for example.
Wow, that's incredible that technology is just moving on, isn't it? I think Canon are very much at the forefront of a lot of that as well, aren't they, I think?
Yeah.
What about entry-level photographers? You know, photographers or hobbyists that are just keen to get into?
So we have the R50, it's very popular. Obviously the entry-level mirrorless is the R100, but I think the more popular one is the R50. It's very small, lightweight. It has a vari-angle screen. It's been used widely for stills, but also for video, because it does offer 4K 30, for example, and it does benefit from our well-known and trusted autofocus, so dual pixel CMOS AF with the different subject detections, 24 megapixels. So it's very, as I said, for someone that wants good quality, flexibility to use different lenses, but something still small, compact and lightweight to take with them wherever they go is great. There is the R10 as well, which is just the next one up from it, with slightly more dials and joysticks. So for those that probably do more photography and want a little bit more control, that's one up. But they're very similar, the same sensor with minor differences.
So with the R50, that's the one you said for entry level, wasn't it? What sort of price point? I know you've got different people doing it at different prices, but on average, what's the price?
I think it's about 700 roughly. Okay. We have amazing offers on so many different cameras, especially the R8 and the R6 Mark II. Okay. Crazy offers.
Really good. Right. Okay. Good stuff. Cool. Okay. What else is new? What are Canon working on? Anything for the future?
I mean, last time we spoke to you, it was all about the VR headsets, wasn't it? I think
there is VR, but there is also now we're expanding our range of hybrid lenses, because we usually have our with EF, for example, our photo lenses, people use them for video. But now we have our hybrid, so lenses specifically designed with, obviously, keeping in mind that videographers want to use them and what those features that videographers would want, and obviously the high quality that photographers would want. So we've got 2 hybrid zooms and 3 hybrid primes, 24, 35 and 50. With these you get like the iris ring or aperture ring, so you can just basically change the aperture. The focus breathing is minimal, because it makes the video look a lot more professional when you get rid of that. And with the zoom ones, they have the what we call electronic parafocal, so when you zoom in, it does basically maintain focus. And then you can control with the zoom ones, you can also control the zoom remotely from like camera or wirelessly as well. So the hybrid, I think, offering, our cameras now, since we introduced the EOS R, we've had photo and video in all the cameras, but we're expanding our hybrid system offering with the hybrid lenses.
Yeah, it's people more flexibility, doesn't it, basically?
More people nowadays are actually shooting photo and video. Whether you do photo first and then do a little bit of video, or video first and do a little bit of photo, you still want that flexibility. And to get the best of both, because our cinema lenses are great, but they tend to be bigger, heavier, a lot more expensive. And sometimes with the just dedicated photo lenses, as great as they are, sometimes, as I said, for someone shooting video all the time, when you're trying to zoom while filming, you want to have that flexibility, and these hybrid lenses do offer that. Also, what you mentioned about VR, I think you might still get people that will say it's still too early for VR. We continue to expand our range. So we have our EOS VR system, and it's all about that simplified capture and editing, because it's one camera, one lens, so one sensor, the two images are captured, one sensor, and you end up with one file, simplifying the editing with the EOS VR utility, and we also have plugin for Adobe Premiere as well, Premiere Pro. We have our L series 5.2 dual fisheye lens, and that will work on R5 Mark II, for example, on our cinema cameras that we launched last year with the C400 and C80 with 6K, and then R5 II, we've got 8K up to 60 RAW, R5C that we have set up there again with the 8K 60, and then two lenses we launched last year, so the RF for APS-C sensor, so R7 at the moment. So again, we're positioning these lenses at different price points for different applications. So 3.9 dual fisheye lens, 140 degrees in terms of the VR content that you get, and then the latest one is a 7.8 millimeter for spatial video and 3D stills as well. Again, it is the cheapest one in the range, but then again, as I said, with the package alongside the R7, it is very affordable for those that want to push boundaries and make their content stand out.
I think the R5C is R5C, isn't it? You said that's something that C range is great. I want to mention having a look at that. But the VR stuff is important for us because we're putting out new information out there, exploring new things. So to be able to explore that further is going to be fascinating. I think that's going to be really interesting. No, that's fantastic. Lydia, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
All right, great stuff.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
see you again.
Okay, right, I'm here talking to Andre, Head of B2B Digital Solutions at Sony. So very pleased to have you here talking to us, Andre, it's really good. So tell us what's hot for professionals this year. What camera would you say is for the professional range?
From the professional range at the show, we've got the Sony Burano, which is the latest camera for professional filmmakers. So we've got it here in display. We've got also the FX range, so the FX3 has been the choice of creators. Last year has been the best in the show. So this would be a couple of highlights in the video space, in the higher end cinematography. So, amazing. Yeah.
What about photographers? Just where are they looking at? Pro photographers?
The pro photographers. So one of the recent developments is the global shutter in the A9 III. So I would say the A9 Mark III is the latest.
I wasn't even aware that there was a Mark III now, actually.
Yeah. So that's the latest one with which includes a global shutter. So that would be the top end.
What about, I mean, there's just, as you know, we talk about pros, but there are still the entry level, the hobbyists, there are students coming into the industry. I mean, they are the future at the end of the day, the people that are coming in. What's a good entry level model, would you say?
For students, the best all-arounder camera would be the Alpha 7 Mark III.
Right, okay.
Which is also now on probably the lowest price point that it's ever been. It's $899 on the show price, and that's a very good all-arounder for anyone wanting to start, you know, both on stills and videos. It's still a great camera, as you know.
That's really interesting because that's been one of the cameras that I've been using for many years for video, the A7 III. It's a great camera. I've had it for a few years, and it's proven to last. It's built there, so people that are coming in as, you know, from entry-level students, it's a camera there that's going to last them for many years, and I can sort of testify to that as well, which is really good. Moving on to something different, AI. Okay, and it could be a difficult question to answer, but do you see, or where are Sony with AI features being built into cameras for the end user? Where do you think that's going? What are Sony doing for that, if anything? And I'm sure they are, if you can tell me.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. We embrace AI in a positive way. So we work with AI development. So some of those features would be embedded in some of the current lineup cameras in terms of AI recognition patterns and improving the autofocus. However, for us, it's all about the creators and making their experience seamless. So that's where the focus of the AI is.
Because I've always seen Sony as, for me, I think Sony has always been, I would say, the leaders in technology, introducing new technology. I think Sony, you've had the benefit of everything else you do outside of photography. You've got your PlayStations, all the other electronic products that you do, and I think a lot of that technology was put into cameras, sort of in recent years. And I think that's why Sony, I think, were potentially the leaders in that. And then, of course, you had the eye tracking focus, which led to animal eye tracking focus and bird eye tracking focus. So there's technology is you're going to be putting things into cameras that we've not actually thought of yet. It's all coming, isn't it?
It might be coming on the line. So we're, as I said, we're working with the AI in a positive way to enhance the experience of the creators, but also to protect them. So to give you one example, we've got one software called the Camera Authenticity Solution, which actually helps to protect the authenticity of the images. So that's one way of using that, and as well as we're working with the AI in the development of the future lineup products. So
brilliant. I've got one final question for you, okay, Andre. As a photographer, going back quite some time ago on the podcast, we had this conversation about what would I like to see in photography? What would help me as a professional photographer or as a professional videographer? And what I wanted to do, what I'd like to see is where I can shoot, take my picture, and immediately it's sent. My editor's already got it. They're editing it as soon as it's taken, it's gone. Now I know that relies on the Wi-Fi, where I am and everything.
Yeah.
Where do you see that?
We've already got that solution.
You do?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Got a product to show you. It's called PDT FP1.
Right, okay.
Which is a data transmitter.
Okay, a data transmitter.
Portable data transmitter.
Okay.
Which enables you to connect to the camera and to connect to a 4G or 5G network.
Okay.
And then allows you to send your pictures instantly to an editor that might be based on the other side of the globe. So, for example, a sports photographer, because you mentioned that, being on an event and using a PDT FP1 connected to his camera, seamlessly sends the images in an instant to the editor, and it's off the press in no time.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But how portable is that? Is that now something that's tethered? Because where you have to tether it to a laptop or something. Is that really how it works? Or
it eliminates the need of the laptop. It's I'll show it to you.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. We can. We have one here. Do you want me to bring it and show? Yeah.
Right,
Give us 1 second. Yeah.
Okay, so Andre, this is the transmitter, data transmitter. So just explain how this works.
So this is the portable data transmitter. So what this allows you to do is to send your images very, very quickly as you take them to an editor, for example. So it's got a HDMI connection, or you could connect through the Ethernet, and then it basically has an optimized antenna, and it can scan and connect to LTE, 4G, 5G networks, public and private ones as well.
Okay.
This is something that a regular phone wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah.
So then allows a seamless connection between the camera and up to an FTP server, so you can send your pictures as soon as you have them. So you'd have this tethered to the camera and connected to an Ethernet, and you can send.
So basically, it's doing what I was sort of saying: is to shoot it back. It's just there. It's up in the cloud.
Eliminates the need of a laptop or anything else. So you have a portable solution for you to send your files.
I just wanted to look at the back of it, really. Just to again, it's the size of a phone, isn't it? So this attaches to your camera, does it?
Yeah. So you could connect to the camera through HDMI, and then you could have the LAN out connection.
Would you have it attached to the camera? I know it's connected.
You can, and it also works as a monitor of the camera.
And it works as a monitor as well?
Yeah. Okay. And there's an app called Monitor and Control.
That's really good, and that's exactly the type of thing that we were looking for. Yeah. So this is called the Sony
PDT FP1 portable data transmitter.
And when will this be available?
It is available.
It is available.
Yeah.
Okay. And what sort of price range are we looking at?
Retail price, it's 1,099. Yeah.
I see. I would have thought it would have been considerably higher than that actually. So because as you
quite
said,
affordable
as
for
a
what
screen
it
as
does.
well. So I think as a price point, that's incredible value.
Yeah.
Just because you're going to spend more on that than just a screen for some and. In fact, it's a data transmitter. It's absolutely incredible. So that's what we were looking for. Fantastic. Great stuff. Great. Andre, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi there, well I'm with Stephen from Adobe, and Stephen, it's great to see you guys here. I know you were here last year and also you're here this year, but there was a hiatus, but you're back now, I guess, yeah?
We are back and we're excited to be back. The UK Photo and Video Show, amazing event. So many photographers from all across the UK, even across Europe. So we're excited to be here. You know, Adobe loves photographers, loves videographers, and it's a great opportunity for us to connect with the community.
Excellent stuff. And what's going on here today then? So what is it that you're, because I see obviously iPads and things, so what is it you're promoting today?
Yeah, so we have been just busy at work innovating on how we can make photographers' lives better, bring new innovation to market. So we're here today to share all this innovation, make sure people are aware of the great features we've delivered, how we can help them.
Oh, well, making life for photographers better is what we're all about, I guess. So what's new? What's going on with, there were some updates recently, I think, weren't there? Which I'm sure we all got. And it's guessing it's really about AI as well at the moment. So massive, I mean, in the last 2 years, it must have been crazy AI-wise for you, right?
I mean, Adobe's been using AI to help creatives for a long time. The new capabilities with generative AI have really opened up kind of a whole new universe of what's possible, and a way that we can offer, you know, with the way that we do generative AI, offer really streamlined workflows to help creatives save time, to enable new types of creativity. So we're really excited. You know, we've got features coming out in Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere Pro that do just that, accelerate the workflows for so many creatives.
And with AI being around now, do you feel we're just at the tip of the iceberg at the moment? Do you feel there's a lot more to come?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've been started in this for a little while here. We've released features like generative fill in Photoshop,
which are game changers.
Game changer, generative remove in Lightroom, and just the ability to use this new capability in our products. You know, it's not like you have to go all out, you know, to different places. They're integrated directly into the product, so that makes those workflows extremely seamless, and it gives that next level of capability with, frankly, like one click. So it's super exciting.
But it's also good to kind of just really sort of shrink down those editing processes, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because there was a lot of things you have to do this first and this first. And that's the thing about Photoshop especially. There's like millions of different ways of doing the same thing, I've known, you know. But to have that kind of condensed a little bit makes things a lot quicker for us, doesn't it?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And, you know, we've seen customers, you know, early days, interested, like, well, what is generative AI? How is it going to help me? As they start using it, it becomes very quick. Like they learn, hey, this is going to help me work faster. It is not going to replace me in any way. Like the possibilities for creatives today are endless, and so we're very excited about unlocking that. Helping people understand, like, this is not something to be scared of. Any new technology, people, you know, they have questions, and I think that's where we're trying to help educate. This is an accelerant for creativity, and we're excited to see people using it.
There was a quote somewhere I saw, which was something along the lines of, we need AI to take out the bins and do the manual work so the rest of us can just sit down and be artistic and creative, right?
Absolutely.
Not the other way around. So it's good that is assisting us to make jobs better, easier to do, so we can spend more time not editing. I mean, that's every photographer and videographer probably spends more time editing.
Particularly professionals. I mean, professionals, it's hard work. I mean, you got to get out there, you got to get the job, you got to shoot the job. Then you come back with so many photos, you know, how do you manage that? And there's so much work on the back end. We want to make that faster so that, you know, that the efficiencies that photographers can get, or videographers, it unlocks their ability to be more successful in their business.
Which is what we all want, really, isn't
Absolutely.
it? So fantastic.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. So anything to look out for in the next coming?
So the pipeline of innovation is not slowing down. If anything, it's getting more accelerated. So you're going to see more coming out in Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere Pro, and we're excited. Here we're talking a lot about about, on the mobile apps, really unlocking creativity for the next generation.
Do you think that's going to be the future, sort of mobile apps rather than, traditionally I use a laptop or a desktop. I never use my iPad to do work on. Maybe it's my generation, I don't know, it's just not something I would do. Is that something you're trying to sort of bridge that gap to tablets and things like that?
I think it's really about, when you think of the next generation, our younger selves, when they're out there today, and the way they want to start learning this software, they want to do it on a browser on the web. They want to do it on a mobile device. So really engaging that next generation of creators on these devices, that's really what we're focused on. So it's in no ways meant to be a replacement of a desktop app. It's meant to work holistically as an experience that you can work on a mobile device, you can then go to the desktop, you can learn along the way. And so that's kind of how we're unlocking creativity for all.
And I like it as well, especially obviously now we've got the cloud system. You have all those add-ons, so when you've got like a package, for example, you got things like Photo Express, which is an amazing thing to use, and a lot of these other add-ons, the AI add-ons, which really do help, add-ons to Photoshop and Lightroom, which obviously you're paying for originally, but you get all these extra things as well, which really helps that creativity, I find.
Yeah. Creative Cloud fundamentally is about bringing together, multi-types of creative activities. So video, photo, imaging, design, and unlocking the ability, because photographers are being asked to do video. Videographers are doing more still, and how it all comes together, and then being able to run your business and use something like Adobe Express. So it's a whole ecosystem of apps, a portfolio to unlock creativity across so many different types of creative activities.
Yes, well, we use Adobe Express for the subtitles for our shorts for this very podcast, so it's an amazing thing. And also, I'm guessing, not that photographers speak about this much, but you have Illustrator as well, of course, which all be integrated, and it's very important. You are one of those lucky brands, really. You're like Sellotape, right? You are part of the conversation. That's been photoshopped. No other brand has that, really, when it comes to it. So that must be really important for you guys.
We fundamentally believe in creativity for all. And so one of the reasons why we're here is really to connect with the community, make sure that we're having a dialogue with the community, and it's been inherent to our brand for so many years. And so we're excited to really get deep, get connected with more of the community, make sure we're hearing what's going on. Everything's evolving so much. So for our brand and for our product teams and for our everybody at Adobe, to create that connection with the community and keep that vibrant is really critical to what keeps this brand, so connected and to creativity.
Well, thank you for your time, Stephen. Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you for being here. And you plan to be here many other...
We find this show so invigorating for the team, creating that connection. So we're excited to continue to support.
That's what we like to hear. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, Mark. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Again, thank you to Nikon, Sony, Adobe, Canon. Okay, great. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, really appreciate it, especially Nikon. I feel we were kind of a bit harsh on you earlier.
He was great.
He was really good. He was really good.
Like I said, I bought a Nikon ZFC as well, so that's good. Again, thoughts, on the show. I think they had a good selection of exhibitors that were there. There was a lot of educational stuff. I think that was really good. You had your normal retailers. I think that was good. You could get real hands-on equipment. And again, I felt that there were a lot of really good deals to be had as well. So I think from that point of view, as a visitor, it was a great experience. They had the little areas you saw where you could go in and if you had your camera, go and take some shots.
I was pretending to be a weightlifter and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that fun area. I thought that was. I thought it was okay. And I think it's good.
I like that little area. I thought it was really cool. I only had the phone with me, so I didn't do too much with it. But yeah, because they built on that from last year. They had that Photoville or something last year, didn't they? Where or Photo Street or something. And I think they kind of went more on that. I love that interactive area. I thought it was really good. And if we weren't doing so much stuff for the pod, I probably would have spent a bit more time on that. just doing
Yeah.
stuff. I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool. Lots
Yeah,
of
it's
play with
good for people-
colours and yeah.
Yeah, it's good for people that took their cameras long and to be able to shoot. That was really good.
Yeah.
I thought the gallery display was really well done. I think the She Clicks, I think had that.
Yeah.
They took up a lot of that. There were others
Yeah.
that exhibited as well. I
Yeah.
think I'd give a shout out to the lab. I think it's, I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it Sewe? CEWE?
Yeah,
Labs?
they're actually based
Okay.
near me. They're based in Leamington
Are they?
Spa. Yeah.
I wanted to have a chat with them because I thought I was going to go. I went Saturday and Sunday, as I mentioned earlier, and I was going to go again on the Monday. I needed to go, but that got called off, or Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
whenever it was, and I needed to go and speak to them about what they'd actually done, because I thought that was presented really well. I thought the quality of the prints, the way they were mounted on the foam board, I think was really good, the way it was all displayed.
Yeah, we probably should have put more
and-
footage on that, shouldn't we? In the vid, we didn't. do that
yeah,
much,
that's
but
right. Yeah, and the thing is,
note for next year.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I love that little display. I spent a bit of time, not on the day that we then went there for the pod, because we were busy with so much
Yeah.
going on with that. But as I said, I had to go for other reasons because, as I said, the pod isn't the only thing that we do. And I think that was the best gallery that they've done. I normally go into the gallery to have a look. And I just thought it was really some of the stuff that the photography that I saw, and I keep mentioning She Clicks. There were some other people that exhibited.
Yeah.
It was photography of a really high standard. It was really good to see.
It's good to see.
It was, and that was really good. You had the traders like Sony, Nikon that were there, Canon. As we say, Adobe were there, okay, and
Yes.
Adobe seemed to have disappeared, didn't they?
Well, they were there last year.
for a
We
while,
just didn't get
yeah.
around to talking to them. And it's nice to see them there again.
With a presence this time, I
They
think.
they did have a presence. I mean, let's face it, Adobe have had a bit of a topsy-turvy year with certain things. We didn't discuss any of that with them because we just wanted to discuss what was going on with what they were doing, what they were promoting. Because at the end of the day, Adobe is a fantastic organization. The stuff they have really pushed on what photographers can do. They continually do it. They are on more so, I think, than the camera tech in some respects, is that they are at the forefront of this AI stuff that's going on. But unlike camera manufacturers who will maybe put AI in on their iFocus or something like that, that's obviously a useful tool. Adobe have to really walk that line between what's useful for photographers, what's actually a hindrance to photographers, but also the moral aspects of everything that goes along with these sort of photography AI apps that can create things for you. They really have to walk that line, more so than I think the others that we saw. And I think
the
so
other thing
far
with
they're doing it okay. I think they're doing it well. They've made some mistakes, but I think generally it's been a good job.
Yeah, and I think we should give Adobe a shout out, because I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, well, Adobe have put their price up," or
Yeah.
Adobe's great, but you have to pay the monthly subscription or the yearly subscription. Why can't I just buy it, blah blah and all that? But you know what? I think the monthly subscription, paying it, you always get the updates, you always get the latest versions, and I know we've spoken about this sort of recently as well. So I think it's great. But the other thing with Adobe is, if you notice, there are lots of Adobe alternatives, okay, and free alternatives, okay, that you can get. But have you noticed that pretty much all of them, they've all got the Adobe design? They all use the template for Adobe. Adobe are the ones that set the standard, in my opinion, and they're copied. And you do get these people. I don't know if you remember, it's quite some time ago where this, use the word kid, but it was this real youngster who basically copied Photoshop. He Photoshop or Lightroom. He recreated it like for like. And it was free to use. I don't even know if it's still available. It probably is.
Probably isn't.
Bizarre, okay. But everything, they've all got that grey black look.
Yeah.
Okay, all of these software, they all try and emulate Adobe, in my opinion. Now, there might be ones that people might say, "Oh, such and such is much better. Is it Capture One or something, whatever?" They might well.
Well,
be
that's
some
instead of
better ones.
Lightroom. So with things like Lightroom and Capture One, yeah, I know. I think we had Bob on before. Sorry, Rob Percy on the episode before, and he prefers Capture One than Lightroom. Which is fine. But nothing has compared with Photoshop. Photoshop is
No.
their flagship, right? And
Yeah.
you're right. There's lots of other software out there. There's lots of free software out there, cheaper software out there, but none of them have taken off like Photoshop. And just going back to about the payment thing, yes, I don't want my payments to go up. Of course I don't. It's going to go from a tenner a month to 15 quid a month. And it's a bit of a, that's a 50% rise, isn't it? Which I'm not going to be happy about. But on the flip side of it, and I'd said this to Stephen, he, with that 15 quid a month, yes, you get Lightroom and Photoshop, which is why I'm paying for it. Those are the things. Well, Photoshop's why I'm paying for it. You get Lightroom with it as well. That's why I'm paying for it. But also you get all these little add-ons. You get Behance. You get access to Photo Express. I keep calling it Photo Express. It's not Photo Express. It's Adobe Express. Sorry, Adobe Express. And like I said to him, some of the shorts that we do with the subtitles, that's through Adobe Express. Now, I could use another thing. I could use CapCut, but CapCut, you have to pay for it to use the subtitle bit. So with that sort of monthly payment, I'm getting all these extra add-ons. Some of it I don't use, some of it I do, some of it I probably should use more than I am doing. So yeah, it's good. The thing I don't like that Adobe are doing is what I've heard is that if you stop paying for the package that I've got, so I've got this is the photography package. It was $8.99, went $9.99. Now it's now going to be 15 quid, 14.99, 15.99, whatever. If I decide right now I'm going to cancel that, you can't redo it. They're stopping that that package, which I think is a shame actually. Unless they're going to replace it with something better, maybe they will. But actually, I think that is a shame that they're stopping that. That's the only thing.
Yeah. But the other thing, again, at the photography show, I noticed was the trend in these really small cameras that seem to be appearing. Really quite cool looking, quite small compact cameras.
Yeah.
And since then, I've become more aware of them. I keep seeing them sort of everywhere now. Sigma have introduced this, this very plain looking camera, shall we say? Very, very minimalist. And there were a couple of Chinese manufacturers, I can't remember the names of the companies now, who had these very sort of lightweight cameras, very much sort of street, aimed, I guess, at street photographers type of thing. So there was a lot of that was going on. I did mention the education part of it. A lot more people offering workshops, photography workshops, which is great. There's the wildlife tours and trips, which is great. I think it's good. Anything where people can learn and have the opportunity to go somewhere and learn, I think is always a good thing as well. So I think there was something for everyone. I think there was a real balance of trade stands. One thing I didn't see, and I may have completely missed it, was anything to do with drones. There didn't seem to be anything with drones, and I was looking out for that. And I know there has been in the past. So whether that just didn't happen this year, obviously exhibitors come and go, and sometimes they can do shows, sometimes they can't do shows, which is good. I didn't buy a tripod this year. Didn't buy a bag this year, although I do need a new bag for my Nikon ZFC. And had I bought that at the show or before the show, then I would definitely have bought a bag. I have plenty of bags I can choose, but I just want a new one.
You just want a new one. You don't need a new
one. Exactly. That's right. Yeah.
So I love to.
Sorry, I was just going to say I also love the fact. I mean, they do it every year, but the photography news sort of newspaper they do as well.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool they do that, and I always look through that, and I think that's lots of good information. So it was interesting reading some of that on the train and on the way back, and now we didn't really attend any of the talks this year for the first time, just because there was so much else going on and we had other things to do, and it's good to vary it as well, sort of every year. But as usual, they had some good talks on, and a real mix. They always go for a really good mix. I know social media stuff, sort of content creation is coming more and more to the fore, but that's the way the industry is moving. So fair play and vloggers and stuff like that, which is all good. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we did obviously just speak to obviously the people that we spoke to, Nikon, Canon, Adobe, and Sony, but we did have the opportunity to speak to some of the punters that were there, didn't we?
The important people,
the important
visitors.
People. It was just some quick fire questions that we asked. So yeah, here they are.
What's your favourite camera brand?
It's Sony.
Nikon.
Sony.
Canon. Believe it or not, it's Pentax and Ricoh.
Canon. Got my Agfa photo at the minute, and it's serving me well.
Canon.
Nikon.
I'm quite drawn to Panasonic.
Well, I use Canon.
Favourite? Sony.
I'm a massive S5 fan, massive Panasonic fan.
My favourite is Fujifilm.
My favourite camera brand is Mamiya.
Are you a student, amateur or pro?
Amateur.
Pro.
Between amateur and pro, I guess.
I'm an amateur. Amateur.
Pro.
I'm amateur.
I'm pro.
Amateur.
It's like an intermediate thing.
Yeah, so I'm a professional videographer.
I'm going to be a student, so I'm going to be a student in September.
I'm an audiovisual artist, and I perform across the UK.
I'm an amateur. We like to shoot. We shoot professionally, but we don't get paid enough for it, so it's not.
Get to see anyone today? Any talks?
Had a chat with the guys at Sony.
Just kind of like how to like elevate my business sort of things, kind of like looking how to kind of enhance my brand and do a bit more collaborations and work with different companies really.
Mainly any updates in tech, any new stuff coming out, and yeah, I'm interested in all tech with cameras. Yeah.
Lindsay Adler. Not any in particular, but I have seen like the Sony and Alpha stage, which has been quite interesting.
Chris from Adobe. What's your dream purchase?
Dream purchase. I mean, years down the line, but probably like an Arri Alexa.
I'd have to say like another lens for my collection.
Oh, I like to buy everything. Probably a Leica.
Probably more S5s, I'll be honest.
Okay, yeah.
R1. Canon.
I thought you might say that. Yeah.
Dream purchase. Almost everything in here.
Oh, the Canon R6.
It would be a Nikon Z6 III.
Probably a Canon R5 Mark II.
Oh, I don't know. I think I have what I need when it comes to gear. Maybe a bigger printer.
Leica.
My dream purchase would be a Z9.
Basically, what I'm holding is my exact dream camera.
I'm just about to go and buy an Insta360 camera, but I am looking at a Sony mirrorless camera as well. There's just so much to buy, and I'm trying not to impulse buy too much.
Right, Mark. So what did you make of that then?
Well, like I was saying earlier, I think the big one that really stuck out to me is that not many people talked about the speakers.
Speakers, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people, are you here to see any talks? Well, I'm here to see Sony. I'm here to see the guy from Adobe. One person said Lindsay Adler. One person. And I was quite surprised. Now, like I said, it might be we just happened to ask people who weren't that fussed about talks, or it might be that was because it was on a Saturday and not the Monday. I don't know. I'd imagine Lindsay Adler had a lot of people going to see her.
Oh, without a doubt.
And I'm sure that they had a lot of people at the talks. But it was interesting that, before last year, we had a lot of names mentioned. We did go on a Monday, though. And this year, we didn't have that many. Well, only one person said a name.
That's right, yeah.
But so that was Canon won again on our branding.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you reckon, camera brand? So Canon won again.
Canon won again. I mean, this isn't fixed, guys. We although we did. A lot of people were a bit suspicious of us asking these questions, though, weren't they? Which
I was really surprised. It's like
So,
and
if you see us there next year, we're not scared. We're just interested in what you're doing. That was all.
We're trying to catch you out. That's right. Yeah, although we did have a couple of people said, "Oh, you're from the photography bar." Right, which is really good. So
that was cool. Yeah,
that was
and we met Craig. We actually met Craig.
Well.
Yes.
Right,
So nice to meet you, Craig.
3 people that said to us, "Oh, you're from the photography bar," which is really good. That is really good. So thank you for that. That's always nice. So it's a camera brand of choice. Canon wins again. And what was the are you a professional? Are you amateur? We had a bit of a mix.
We had a bit of a mix there, didn't we? I think there was quite a few amateurs there. Amateurs and pros, not so many students, I think, which might be because of the day we went. And
that's right, because I think they do have a studio day, don't they? But
a student day. Yeah, I think Monday day tends to be that day, maybe Tuesday. I don't know. But most of it was. I think we had a lot of pros. And it was maybe more pros than amateurs. I don't know. He had the Mamiya guy who was like, we shoot professionally, but we don't get paid as much as maybe we should do. It's like, yeah,
oh yeah, that's a whole
So,
conversation. It's interesting,
yeah.
really, seeing him with the Mamiya, which was great because it just took me back.
And he loved it,
Funnily-
didn't he? He absolutely loved that Mamiya.
It's funny though, where you see somebody carrying a Mamiya around with them. Now,
Yeah.
I use them professionally for years. You'd never carry them around like that. It's always used on a tripod. You put it away in the
Yeah.
bag afterwards because it was too goddamn heavy. Take
Yeah.
it out, whatever. Now, I think because there's this nostalgia, there's this thing people think they feel really cool carrying them. They're really cool looking cameras. They're great.
I think there's more to it. I think for that guy. I think.
So people sort of feel like using them. They want to use them. They want to strap them around their neck and and all of that, which is brilliant. It's great to see them.
Same reason why you've gone for that Nikon camera.
Exactly. That's
You
right.
know,
Yeah.
It's there is a tactile feel to. I mean, I've still got my Bronny, and it's not as big as because he had the RB. Was it the RB or the RZ? I can't remember now.
The
Was it
RZ 67. Yeah.
And they are big cameras. They do 6 by 7 centimeter.
6.7, 6.9 as well. Yeah.
6. I think his was a 6.7 though, wasn't it? The RZ.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. But I think you can actually shoot 6.9 with it as well. From what I remember, it's go back a while ago.
If you get a different back,
yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I can't remember. But anyway, there is. Yeah, I mean, there is something amazing when you press the button on the camera. The shutter button. There's this clunk. There's something very different.
Yeah.
Just by going what you're saying, and it has. Yeah, like it.
That's right. Yeah.
Modern cameras, are, like you said earlier, they're soulless, aren't they? And something
right,
against that Mamiya, it's a very different thing.
It's like you take a picture. I remember you used to flick the little button at the back, wind the film on,
Yeah.
cock the shutter, and then you're ready to go. So there used to be 3 things to move on to the next shot.
Yeah.
You know, and interesting way of working,
Yeah.
And
but no, fair play to him though. I
that-
love the fact
yeah.
he was around with that. He had that fish
Great.
eye on, didn't he? He absolutely
Yeah.
loved it, and he was obviously doing work. And it's people like him that keep these things alive.
Yeah.
People like you and me don't. So maybe we should.
No, we
really-
don't.
Maybe we
Yeah,
should do more with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you and we used them professionally for so many years that it was just, I couldn't imagine going back to it. I love seeing them. I love picking them up and just having a little bit of a go, but that's it.
Yeah.
Rather than that, I don't have that desire to think, right, well, I want to go back to film now.
Whereas he had that passion for it, didn't he?
But I think people want to see what it was like years ago. And you understand,
Yeah.
it's like I bought the ZFC because I wanted that retro sort of feel. And
Retro
using it
feel,
like that,
but with the
you know.
digital safety net.
With the digital, yeah, exactly. Well, no, I wouldn't even call it a digital safety net. I don't see myself putting a roll of film ever into a camera again and
No,
waiting to process it. So yeah, no, I wouldn't say with the safety net, but it was just the fact that everything is the same except there's no film in it. It's everything pretty much.
And there's no
works
wind
as
on
it
though,
did
is
before.
there? There's
There's no wind on.
Hey, I remember when
Yeah.
holding one, I went to wind just automatically because when you feel that camera, you just want to wind. And it's the same with that Mamiya, you know, you just click, clunk, take the dark
exactly.
slide out, and you know,
yeah.
it's
And,
So well, fair
yeah.
play to him for keeping it alive, you know, because
Yeah, they should do, and I think that it needs that. It needs people to do that. And that was the other thing at the show. They did have this whole area, didn't they, for the whole film area, wasn't it? That
Yeah,
they had.
they did,
And
yes.
and I think that was really good.
Yeah.
I'd like to know whether that's going to be as big next year, how popular. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what anyone says, film processing is still comes at a cost. You know,
Yeah.
and it will attract a lot of people, but there are a lot of people that will maybe give it one go and think, oh no, I'm not going to. You know, it can
comes
be
at a
expensive.
cost.
It was expensive. It was expensive back then, years ago.
It's even more
And-
expensive now.
and it's even more expensive now. So
Yeah.
you know, I
And
think
also,
it'd
there's-
be limited. Put it that way.
It's more costly. It's in money, also in time. It's more costly, and it's more risky. You know,
That's right. Yeah.
Some newbie lab technician could fog your film. I've heard
Exactly.
it. I've heard it done. So
And I was talking to the Vintage Camera Hut. In fact, they're going to come on as a guest as well.
Ah, cool.
And I was at their stand and I was picked up the Olympus Trip 35 because my brother had one and he still got his.
Wicked.
And so I picked that up and that was like going back in time as well.
Yeah.
You know, again, a great camera. And actual fact, I did think it was a digital one as soon as I picked it up because it looked brand new. And when I sort of went up to it, I thought, oh, the Olympus Trip 35, they've got a digital version of it.
Yeah.
I would have been tempted to buy one actually, but it wasn't. It was a film version. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a classic. So, but great I wish it was on twice a year, the photography show. I know logistically they just couldn't do it because even now we've had a couple of weeks since it's been over thinking, do you know what? I wish I'd have gone to see that. I wish I'd spent more time there. I should have looked at this. I should have looked at that. A year in between is too long to wait. I know that there are one or two smaller trade shows.
Yeah.
And I know that financially it wouldn't be viable to do.
No, of course
do it a couple of years. But it would be good to have I don't know, a mini show, a photography show light.
Well, we do have, like you said, there are other ones coming up. I mean, the societies will have theirs.
But I do like
West and Wales,
do like this.
Wales and West show that'll be coming up, and also there's Click Live. Obviously, if we've had Charlie on from them, and if he manages to do what he says he wants to do, which I have no doubt, I have every faith in that's what's going to happen. That is going to be a show to watch. So I mean that could be as big as the photography show if it all goes.
That's right. But if the photography, but Hazel, hopefully you and your team are listening, and let's have a photography show light. I don't know what format it could be.
They are cussing your name right now, Cam.
No, got enough. I know, but it's done so well that I wish there was something else that went alongside it as well, which would be really good. So anyway, it was new ideas and whatever. So. I know they're probably banging their heads against their desks now and against people saying, no, please.
No more.
We've started planning for next year already and that's taking up all of our time.
I imagine they have got, I reckon, a big chunk of next year's already organised, which is...
Yeah, I'm sure that's right, And I'm sure there's a lot of you listening that didn't manage to get to the photography show. Some of you may not even known it was on. The dates are out for next year. It's March again next year. I don't have them to hand, but they have been released. Just have a look online. And I think it's if you're a hobbyist, you're a professional, whatever it is, I think it's essential to get there. I think it's a great show to go to. So regardless of where it is. But thank you guys. Thank you for listening. We will see you in the next episode.
We certainly shall. Bye for now, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Hi there. Before we go, I would just like to say a big thank you to our patrons, because without your support, we'd find it a lot more difficult to produce this podcast for you. So just want to say a big thank you to Frank Case, Amira Zainab, Carl Sherville, Rob Percy, of course, Craig Chuck, Emily Brown, and Nick Payne. So thank you ever so much for your support. And we hope you enjoy this episode. And please continue listening. Bye for now.